All right, it is 6 o'clock and it's time to begin our council meeting for Tuesday, May the 12th. I'll call this meeting to order of the Allgood City Council. I need to also inform everyone that pursuant to the governor's executive order number 16, and in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, the open public meetings of the Allgood City Council are being held via electronic means with limited public access. We have, however, made people aware that they can join us on Facebook. We are streaming that live at allgood-tn.com. We will also have a phone number if someone has a question or wants to have input on an item during this meeting, that they can call 537-9545 extension 2280. With all that being said, we'll now continue our meeting as always with our invocation and our pledge. And I have asked Mr. Morrison if he will give the invocation, and I've asked Chief Armour if he will then lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand?
Bow your heads. Most gracious and loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings of life, Lord. We come to you with bowed heads and thankful hearts, thanking you for keeping us safe, Lord, and watching over us. We pray, Lord, that you would continue to protect us, Lord, and watch over us through this pandemic, that we would come through this on the other side stronger, Lord. We pray for this council as they make decisions tonight, that they would be for the betterment of this community and all citizens, Lord, that would continue to move the city of Allgood forward and be good stewards of the money and what we've been put in charge of, Lord, that it's for the betterment of everyone. Pray for those, Lord, that are sick, Lord, those that have lost loved ones during this time. That you just reach down and touch them, lift them up, Lord, comfort them, heal them, and that your will would be done in their lives, Lord. And we pray that you continue to watch over us and protect us, protect the city employees, and keep them safe as they work each day, provide the services for the city of Allgood. It's in your name we ask these many things. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to
which stands
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll ask Ms. Flatt if she would be kind enough to call the roll.
Honorable Mayor Fowler.
Here.
Honorable Vice Mayor Norris.
Present.
Honorable Councilman Bilbrey.
Present.
Honorable Councilwoman Hawkins.
Present.
Honorable Councilman Hill.
Present.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Flatt. Now, if we could all look at our agenda. I think we've had a chance to review it, but I'm not aware of any changes, but if you have considered it, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as we have it presented.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Right, there's been a motion and a second to approve the agenda as it's presented. Ms. Flatt, would you call the roll?
Mayor Fowler.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
All right, the next item is to consider approval of the minutes of our last meeting. And we have had those supplied to us. Are there any corrections, additions, or changes that need to be made at this time?
No changes, Mayor.
Thank you. Hearing that there are no changes, I would entertain a motion to consider to approve the minutes of the council meeting held on April 14th.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right. A motion and a second to approve the minutes. Ms. Flatt, would you please call a roll?
Mayor Fowler.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey.
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
It appears that we have no old business to conduct, but under new business, we have to consider approval to suspend the reading of ordinance 646-20, which is our budget, and we're about to get into that in a discussion in item 4, so it's quite lengthy. I think we can dispense with reading the entire ordinance, and I would entertain a motion to suspend the reading of such ordinance.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Ms. Flatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
All right. The next item on the agenda is to consider second reading of ordinance 646-20, which is our budget ordinance. However, before we can decide whether or not to ratify this or vote on second reading, the floor has to be open for public comment on the ordinance. And we are doing this a little differently, so we are monitoring Facebook to see if we have any comments, any questions. Also, as we mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, folks can call 537-9545, extension 2280, to ask any questions or make any comments that they would like. So this is the time, the portion of the meeting that is now open for public comment on this budget ordinance.
Mayor, to give it a few more minutes, do you want me to highlight anything in the budget, ma'am?
Yes, please, if you would.
I'm gonna step over here so I don't reverberate. This is the budget for July 1st, 2020, ending June the 30th, 2021. This budget does include no tax increase. The tax rate will remain at 0.4407 per 100. This does include the general fund with a net revenue of $3,344,238 and a net expense of $3,861,662. That is an overage of $517,424. However, for the last 2 years, we have shown positive revenues over expense, and we do anticipate that again this year. In fiscal year 2019, we had $388,021 more revenue than expense. Currently, for fiscal year 2020, we're showing $80,278 positive revenue. We are more like $521,000 at the moment. Of course, there are expenses for the remainder of the year, and we do anticipate some decrease in tax coming in, but we do have enough money surplus to absorb that and continue on. State Street Fund has a cash balance of $187,651, and we're showing a revenue and expense that equal each other at $133,650. The Drug Fund has a cash balance of $37,335, and we're showing an equal expense and revenue this year of $30,015. The Cemetery Fund is showing a balance of $310,720, and we're showing an expense and revenue equal to each other at $10,475. The Water Sewer Fund is showing a balance of $1,638,919 at the end of fiscal year 2020. However, we do anticipate that to be closer to $1.8 million. This coming year, the revenue will be $2,001,755 with an expense of $159,809, with a net decrease of $158,054, and that is due to the water sewer project. That is a capital expense, so that actually will not show against us. We'll be able to offset that and continue to show positive gains on the utility fund, which we must do. The general fund balance as of June 30th, 2020, we estimate to be $6,000,003. State street aid fund balance is estimated at $187,651. Drug fund expense account is estimated to be at $37,335. Cemetery fund $310,720, and the water and sewer fund $1,638,919. And I would like to commend the council. This will be the first year that we have completed second reading of the budget in May. And this will be the earliest that we have ever turned in the budget to the state. So we are ahead of schedule, and I applaud you all for that, and thank you for your support and help with this budget. Mayor, as of this time, there have been no phone calls and no comments on Facebook for public hearing.
All right. Having no public comment or questions, I would go ahead and close this portion of the public comment section, and I will proceed to ask for a motion to approve on second and final reading ordinance 646-20, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2020 and ending June 30, 2021.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Ms. Black, would you call the roll?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
Thank you for that, and we thank you, Mr. Morrison, for all the work that you put into the numbers and getting this budget together. Item number 5, consider approval to purchase a used skid steer from Public Works Capital Outlay not to exceed $40,000. And some of you know that yesterday I learned a skid steer is also maybe referred to as a bobcat, or so now I know what a skid steer is. So, Mr. Morrison, do you have any comment or any information as to why we need to go ahead and purchase this?
Currently, we have expensed $145,446 out of our capital outlay for public works, with a budgeted amount to spend at $255,000, so it remains at $109,553 balance. We do have some paving and striping out, but they will not exceed this, and we would like to purchase this skid steer to try to relieve some additional pressure from the backhoe. It is also a smaller piece of equipment, so it would allow us to do the sidewalk dress down that we've been needing to do and continue to work on. And it will also help out with a lot of other projects that we do, allowing an additional piece of equipment with a smaller footprint and a smaller path. Also reducing the usage on the backhoe, allowing us hopefully to get longer life out of that. So the more we spread the workload across multiple people or pieces, the quicker we can go and the longer the equipment lasts, because it's not having to be used as much. Mr. Jones, did you have a comment? Okay. Are there any questions? Mayor?
No.
Okay.
All right. I'd entertain a motion whether to approve this purchase of a used skid steer from the Public Works Capital Outlay not to exceed $40,000.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a motion?
I'll second.
I'm sorry, I didn't get who made the motion.
Carolyn Norris made the motion.
Okay, Ms. Norris, thank you. Okay, Ms. Black?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilbrey,
Yes.
Honorable Hawkins,
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
All right, moving along on our agenda, item number 6 is to consider approval to purchase a new 12 by 20 storage building from All American Sheds, also known, I guess, as the Barnyard, in the amount of $3,865 for the senior center. It's my understanding that they are in need of additional space, and if we purchase this, that would alleviate that concern and would allow us to expand the library. Is that your understanding, Mr. Morrison?
That's correct. What we're doing is swapping storage space with the senior center to get the room that is inside the building to allow us to open that up for the library to double the library space. So we're actually swapping space with them. They're using that room for storage, so we're going to provide this wooden storage building to alleviate for that space and allow us to use it as additional space for the library. So it's an exchange. There has been concern about if a 12 by 20 is big enough. We could go a little bit larger. It would go over the $4,000. The other concern is that if we get too big, the intent was to set this kind of near the building and not take up a lot of the parking lot. So if we get too big, I may have to move it away from the building to accomplish that. This is a wooden storage shed with double doors. We will put shelves inside of it as well as down the middle probably to allow them to have space to store, and we'll do some clean out in some closets to give them some additional storage space and work on some rooms over there so that there are some other spaces that can be better utilized for storage as well.
Right, is there any discussion about whether to purchase this 12 by 20 or has there been some discussion about whether we need a bigger one? And I don't know if we've been able to obtain a quote on a bigger one.
I did have a quote sheet. I didn't bring it with me. It was in my truck. I believe a 12 by 30 is somewhere in the $4,500 range. I know it's no more than $5,000, but I'd have to look at that number to be sure. So if you all want to change the size, one thing we could do is increase the size to 12 by 30 and say no more expense than $5,000 if you want to do it that way. Mayor, were you able to hear all of that?
Yes, sir. I just, I wanted the recommendation of, you know, if we get too big, seems like you had concerns about that. I don't have a feeling either way.
There was some concern that maybe they would need a little bit bigger space, so if you all wish to do that, we can do that.
Okay.
I mean, what do you need, Keith? I mean, it's all about need. I mean, it's not a huge delta between this 12 by 20 and the 12 by 30. I mean, what's needed, and then maybe, me personally, I would suggest we plan for something maybe a little
Right.
bigger for some
So,
growth. I mean,
typic-
don't run out of space before you know it.
Typically with a storage building, they tell you to plan for more than what you need right now so that as you need additional space, you have it. I would not go any bigger than a 12 by 30 just because of how much space it's going to take up over there. I felt like a 12 by 20 would be adequate if we provided some additional spaces. There are a couple of rooms over there. There are outside restrooms that we can redo the doors, gut the plumbing, and make storage closets out of those that would be sufficient for some things. There's some other closets that I think we could clean out, rearrange, and rework that will give them some additional space. I do think a 12 by 30 would be appreciated, but again, I don't want to get so big that I'm taking up my entire parking lot with a building. So this is going to set within a few feet of the community center. It's going to be the same color with matching color schemes so that it doesn't stick out bad. But we can go a little larger if you all wish to do so.
How many parking spots we talking taking this thing's going to take up?
We're actually going to try to sit it on the concrete pad at the back of the building where the drive-through was at, because we've already blocked that off with the intent that we're going to put a handicap ramp into the library. So that drive-through space will no longer be accessible anyway. So the anticipation that it will not take up more than just a foot or two of the front of those angled parking spaces up against the building. So we think we can extend those lines and still maintain those spaces and just use the drive-through space that we're already losing to put this storage facility.
my take would be just give you the, I don't see why we wouldn't treat this any different than we did the skid steer and, give him the authority to go up to, up to $5,000. That's just my take. It sounds like we could probably stand to have a little additional space, but honestly, this would be one of those times I'd look to you for recommendation as to what the actual need is.
So this is a local company. It is on Mirandi and 111.
That's
I
great.
have sourced these at a couple other locations, and they are all comparable price.
Stick
So
low.
there's not anything inconsistent with the prices, and so I will put those price packets with this bid information so that there's proof there that we did kind of shop around, and we are under our $8,000 bid limit, so we're okay with that. But again, senior center always could use more storage space. If you tell Brenda you're going to give her more space, she'll find some more stuff to put in it. She would be a very happy lady. So
Well, at this point, then, we could entertain a motion to purchase a 12 by 30 storage building not to exceed $5,000. Would that work, Mr. Morrison?
that should be fine. Yes, ma'am.
Would anyone like to make that motion, or do you feel that we should make a motion for a 12 by 20?
I'd make the motion 12 by 30 and give Keith up to 5,000. And if Keith doesn't feel like a 12 by 30, if that's too big, then he has to give him the discretion to shrink it and go back.
To go back down.
Go back down to the
Okay.
12 by 20. Give him up to 5,000.
Okay. I can take that,
But-
Mr. Hill, as a motion.
Please.
Do I have a second?
Ms. Ruby seconded.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Blatt?
Mayor Fowler,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Norris,
Yes.
Honorable Bilberry,
yes,
Honorable Hawkins.
Yes.
Honorable Hill.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Now, Mr. Morrison and department heads, do you want to update us on anything?
Paving bids are currently out for the remainder of Wall Street from Main Street to 2nd Avenue South. They also include Pinnock Street, and we have also included striping on Wall Street and striping individually on Mirandi from Main Street to 111 and from 111 to the city limits, so that we have some extra numbers to see where we're at, and if we can afford all of that, we will proceed on with all of it. We also have sign bids out, which are due back May the 22nd for the entrance signs at each end of 111. Those were a request for proposal to see what kind of signs we could get from our designers, and then we can work from there and tweak those if we wish to do so. Again, the census response numbers, we are doing good. I'm proud to report the nation percentage responses is at 58.6. The state is at 58.4. Putnam County is at 62.8, and all good citizens are at 66.3. So we want to thank our citizens who've responded, and also encourage the other citizens to respond. Citizens encourage their neighbors to respond online, by phone, or by mail. Those are the numbers that control your tax dollars coming back to your town. So it's very important to all of us that we get as much of that back as we can. Department heads, did you have anything? Okay. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Did we have any citizens or delegations that have responded or have asked questions that we need to address at this time?
I don't see any questions other than what about Elm Street, and I'm not sure. That's from Miss Shauna Whitefield. It's probably about the drainage and the widening of the street, which also are in plan. Director Jones will be working on the drainage in the area to try to alleviate some issues, and once all of that's completed, we're going to look at widening the street. So that work will begin in process, but we can't bid it until we get all of the preliminary work done. We wouldn't want to have it sitting there and not be able to pave it, or pave it and have to tear it up to fix all of these things. So the drainage work will begin hopefully soon. We've got several other streets that we're working on drainage and trying to deal with some issues and clean up some tiles and do some widening work. So those things are coming.
All right. Anything that the council wants to address? Questions, comments? All right, hearing none, I'll make a, oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Just one question. I had somebody approach me and ask about 4th of July. Can you tell me where we stand on 4th of July plans at this point in time?
Yes, Mayor, did you hear the questions about 4th of July?
Yes, 4th of July, yes, sir.
Okay, so what we are discussing at the moment, it's kind of up in the air. The possibility is that we will definitely continue the fireworks. That will allow for social distancing, so we will have the fireworks show, and that's already ordered and paid for partially up front. We have to do a half payment up front. We are considering not doing any of the inflatables or what we consider the high-touch, high-density areas where you would have a lot of kids piled up on one thing playing, so all the inflatables are considering to be dropped. I have not ordered any of those for that purpose because we would have been already ordering them by February or March, so we've held off on that. So I think we stay away from that. The music is already set up, and we are considering keeping the music because we think you can stay in the park and still maintain distance and stay safe, and we can abide by guidelines as the state of Tennessee releases those. I think we can still meet them. And it's at the end of June, so I think that will give us some additional time to prepare. We also are considering keeping the vendors. I feel like those are still things that allow for social distancing, and you can continue to monitor the safety and stay away. And we will continue to work under the state of Tennessee and make sure we're abiding by any rules and regulations. But at this point, those are the things that we are considering and how we intend to proceed with our 4th of July celebration. Anything else? Mayor, there's no other comments at this time.
Okay, I have a question. What time is the band or the music supposed to start?
The intended time frame for the band was from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. with the fireworks starting at 9.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, hearing no other questions, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, and I'll be happy to make that motion.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Bilbrey, I think we're all in agreement, right? Say aye. All right. Thank you all very much. See you soon.